maybe like World War II film. I forget what the film that was nominated instead of it. And it got so much backlash that they opened it up to like 10 films the next year
to fit it in.
Well, they didn't put it in next year, because it missed the mark, and they didn't want to ever miss the mark again. So what they're putting in was Avatar, District 9, and District 9's a good film. Avatar, not so much.
My good friend Jim Cameron, with Avatar.
But that's because they didn't catch on to like where things were at, and they didn't see what The Dark Knight really was, and how like even
they didn't see where film was going.
Yeah,
they didn't see where cinema was going, and that's
where was it going? Come on.
Oh man, it's going big. It's going big. Movies are getting big. All right, you look at a budget of a film from the 90s or a film even from the 80s, and you look at how much those films cost to make, even with inflation. Then you look at how much films cost now. My goodness, $400 million. Holy crap!
They made the
That's
new
a lot of freaking money.
Yeah, for like maybe $200 million. They made $1.2 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
Just this weekend around the world.
Just in this weekend.
Yeah. They made their money back tenfold.
Tenfold. What was the biggest stinker? It was supposed to be Waterworld for like the longest time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Waterworld. Yeah.
And Waterworld, I mean, its budget is not going to hold up to Avengers. It's not. The films have gotten a lot more expensive, and the experience has gotten bigger. And like it or not, the CGI-laden special effects monstrosities that we see now in cinema, that is what we're going to see.
That's the standard
people
now.
Want the experience. And I'm not knocking it, because honestly, I have fun watching some of that stuff, and I enjoy it, and that's an experience. And I go to movies to have an experience. But film has been around a long time. There's a whole lot of films, and there's a whole lot of films I bet you haven't seen that you would love to see in a theatrical setting. And that's where retro cinema and art house cinema comes in. Mm-hmm. Because, Avengers Endgame is an event movie. That's an experience. But so is seeing a Miyazaki movie in a weird little Pennsylvania single screen theater, MAS theater, mm-hmm. and getting to experience a movie in a theatrical setting on a big screen with big sound in that kind of cool retro setting. And I kind of went through this little phase this winter because I work at a movie theater. I don't get to watch a lot of movies. I don't even consider myself a real movie person. I'm a movie theater person. I run a movie theater. I work at a movie theater. I don't get to watch a lot of movies. So this winter, I took it upon myself to watch more movies. And I tried doing the first run scene. I saw a couple gems. I saw Us, which was great. Oh yeah, tremendous film. I saw Shazam, fantastic. Yeah. Had a great time. But I also saw,
You mean Shazam, the comic book, or do you mean the one with Shaquille O'Neal?
Well, I think that's Kazam.
That was Kazam.
That was
Shazam.
All right.
Shazam came out this
Zams,
all these Zams going on out there. Yeah, so I had my first run doses, and they were good. I had a great time, but honestly, like one of the coolest experiences I had was watching Spirited Away at the Emmaus Theater in in Emmaus, Pennsylvania, an old industrial town, and it was just the fact that it was this vintage theater that reminds me of my theater, and it's so original and so classic, and seeing a movie on a big screen like that is just so unique. I couldn't watch that in my living room and get the same experience. I wouldn't appreciate it like I did seeing it on a big screen. And quick little bump here. Brendan and I, our mission with the Moving Picture Cinema, our brand new mobile theater, is to bring that sort of classic movie going experience, that feeling of seeing a big movie on a big screen with big sound at a unique place. Now we're on the road, and we're taking that to places that aren't movie theaters.
Right. So we were talking about this, and you guys have let's start from the beginning. So you have a mobile movie theater.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where did this concept come from? How did it get started? What's it all about?
Okay. I think it starts in a couple places. One of the places it starts for me personally is at the Mahoning Drive-In Theater at my drive-in. And it starts like 3 or 4 years ago with my buddy Corey and I, late at night, playing with a digital projector that I purchased on Amazon. And we're just in the snack bar. We got it to screen movies in the snack bar as like an extra kind of like bonus thing between movies during intermissions and stuff. Drive-in theaters are big, and this one is one of the biggest. It has one of the biggest screens in the country. It has the biggest screen in Pennsylvania. And this is a little $300 Amazon projector. It's not even HD. It's just a standard definition thing. We got it to play tapes. And I say it in another film, but I will say it here as well. Every good story starts with having a beer. We had a beer, maybe 6, and we thought, hey, let's take an extension cord. Let's pull this puppy outside and let's point it at the screen, at the drive-in screen. Let's see.
Let's see what it does.
Let's see what it does. Why not? What do you got to lose?
What do you got to lose?
It's late at night. We're hanging out, whatever. So we get an extension cord. I'd fire it up. I see an image on the screen. It's not bright. It's not great, but it's there. And it got me thinking, technology is at the point where we can build a cinema that can move, and we can take cinema on the road. And so years later, after I built the Mahoning's digital system, which is still a product of my design, my original like crazy projector array is still there. And if you want to see that, watch the documentary At the Drive-In, because that's where that system is highlighted. And that's kind of it's almost a spoiler. I'm almost spoiling the movie.
Don't spoil the movie.
But
why? What are you trying to do?
Because I'm
spoiling it.
Ant-Man kills Thanos. By
Ant-Man kills Thanos. Look, Snape kills Dumbledore. We all know it. It happened already. Don't worry about it.
I'm a little older than you guys. I didn't see. No, I'm teasing. I actually caught up with those over the winter. Finally, but go ahead.
Anyway, yeah. So if you want to see that system, go watch that movie, because that's the best way to experience that whole story. But that kind of got my brain going with, what if we took, that experience, the experience of the Mahoning, the experience of the Ambler, Retrograde. What if we took that kind of classic movie-going experience? We took the spirit of classic cinema, but we took that on the road. And that's what we're doing with the moving picture cinema. And yes, the moving picture cinema is a digital outfit. Yep. So sue me. Deal with it. Honestly, I mean, it's really hard for that to exist any other way, and it's almost prohibitively expensive to make that film. But it's in our goals. Yeah. But right now we have a pretty killer digital setup that we took months and months of research and development to build, and we have a nice PA system that broadcasts beautiful sound. And what we do is we team up with cool venues like breweries and wineries and cool spaces that hip young people want to be at, and we put cool old movies in, and we literally play, we literally give a theatrical experience in a non-theatrical space. And that's kind of our objective, is taking the idea of the Mahoning, or the idea of Ambler's Retrograde series, and we're putting that on the road, and we're making that even more accessible to even more people. We're taking the theater experience and we're expanding it, because that's what we need. We need more of that experience. Netflix is great. Amazon Prime is wonderful, and I love those services. I cannot knock them. But honestly, I wouldn't see half the movies I would if I didn't have movie theaters to go see them.
Yes. Well, the other thing I want to interrupt here with is the difference between, like, I remember going before the Netflix and the streaming services, going to a movie was an event. Like, I didn't really go, like, going to the sports games.
It still is.
That's the thing. Like, it is something that I feel like even now, I know it's still a thing, but I feel like I'm missing out on it. Like, I don't do it nearly enough.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things where it's sad that our culture has gotten to the point where, like, I sit there maybe on Saturday night if I have nothing to do and go through Netflix. I might spend an hour. I might not even find anything I like.
I know. I sit there and I'll spend time and just flip it. I don't want to watch this. I don't want to watch this. It feels like I have so much content that I don't want to pick any of it, and none of it's really that interesting.
And I think, in the past, like, when you talk about movie theater, when you show it to a movie theater, you're pretty much making this snap decision. You're like, that's the movie, because you only have, like, you go there and you don't want to stay online forever. You have to make a decision or go to a video. I think the worst thing that's happened is the fact that video stores are gone. Because when I went to a video store as a kid, it made me more adventurous. If I saw this enticing title or cover art on these VHS or DVDs.
You're talking about the horror movies, though,
yeah,
right?
Horror movies or sci-fi movies.
Right?
Yeah, just anything. And just, with just a small working knowledge of these films, I just pick up maybe 3 movies and go home, because with Netflix, you can sit there for hours and try to ponder and think about and read descriptions about, reviews about these films. There's a video store. You don't want to be loitering in there for hours on end like a weirdo. You want to go in, you want to pick your movies and go home and watch them.
Right.
And I think it's one of those things that it's gone now. That and it's also, you have to get up, you have to go out. It's even if you want to stay in and watch a movie, you're still socializing in a way. You're still going with people.
When you go to see a movie, you commit to seeing that movie.
Yeah.
When you go out to see a film in a theater or wherever, you are committing to that act, and you're committing to seeing what it is you're seeing, and you ultimately get a better experience because of it. I was on Netflix the other day, and I'm just like, I'm bored. I'm going to watch a movie. And there's Hellboy. Well, there's the new Hellboy out, and I don't really care to see that. But hey, the old Hellboy, I remember enjoying it. I started watching it, having a great time. I got tired, and I'm like, I'll go to bed. I just stopped the movie and went to bed. And then I woke up the next morning, went to work, came back, and then finished the movie. But I can't tell you if I remember any of the movie, because honestly, I wasn't paying. I was surfing the net.
You're playing
I
with
was
your phone.
I was playing on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing on Facebook, and I was doing all this other stuff. And I was thinking about all this other stuff. When I go to a movie theater, my focus is the movie, and it's like going to see a play. You are investing in that experience, and the investment is totally worth it. I will pay $10 to go see a movie at an AMC. Not to say the AMC is the great place to see movies, but because I'm going to get a good experience. I'm going to get an experience I'm not going to get in my living room.
And movie theaters will keep giving you, if you go to a Regal, you're still going to have a big blockbuster and some sort of independent small movie there. With Netflix and other streaming services, you're going to see in a few years, the only place you're going to be able to go and stream your Star Wars and Marvel movies is on the new Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. On Netflix, you can see all their content is going towards their own original content, which is bland. It's boring, bad.
It's a mixed
stuff.
bag. Yeah.
Even then, they're losing things like the Marvel stuff, like Daredevil.
Yeah,
they're losing it because it's Disney.
Yeah. And thankfully Amazon Prime struck a deal with a movie studio called A24, which does really cool independent films, and they're putting some interesting stuff on there. But I'm assuming once they start making their own stuff, it's just going to be their stuff.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have like multiple streaming services, and it's going to force people to choose: do I want to see my Star Wars and my Marvel films on a monthly basis, or my Netflix original series on a monthly basis? And there's only so much money you can spend. You basically be paying for what you would pay for cable by the end of it. Probably even more of all these streaming services.
I can't invest in all these streaming services. Like many other millennials, I have a limited budget. And so, I'm spending that budget on experience, and I'm spending that budget on things that I'm going to remember and enjoy. And so I'm telling everybody to invest in going to the movies, because you are going to enjoy, even if it's a horrible movie, even if you don't like it, you're going to remember it more vividly, and you're going to enjoy it more. Was not a big fan of 12 Years a Slave. Did not think it deserved an Academy Award. I saw that in theaters, and I enjoyed it while watching it. But since I watched it and I was invested in it, I remembered it, and I got to think about it. And I'm like, this was a very flawed movie. It's had a lot of mechanical issues. I wasn't sold on it. But I'm glad I saw it, because I wouldn't have that ability to analyze something and see something if I just watched it online. Yeah. If I just streamed it and just kind of half-assed it,
And even with the big blockbusters, I was at Avengers Endgame opening night, the first show. And, with a film like that, and it's the conclusion of this 11-year saga, the cool thing about movie theaters is if people are super invested, it gets pretty wild in there. It's pretty cool. I think with Endgame, people were cheering at all these big moments. You hear them crying at other moments. It's just like this roller coaster ride. And, you come out of it, and I turn to my brother, and I'm like, this was like being at a rock concert almost. Right. This is an emotional experience. And the thing is, I'll never forget that experience of being there with these people.
Yes.
And like these stories you can tell. I even remember a year ago when the last one came out, and this specific girl was freaking out at these different parts. And I remember her, and it's great stories you can tell people.
Yeah, well, you say that, but like I remember being in high school,